Human health and diseases. First of all, let us see the health organizations. WHO is World Health Organization set up in 1945 with its head office in Geneva. WHO is a World Health Organization set up in 1945 with its head office in Geneva. It has 6 regional offices in the world, of which the Indian office is in Delhi. The Red Cross is the oldest health organization in the world and was set up in 1864. The other popular global organizations include UNESCO, United Nations Education, Scientific and Cultural Organization. UNESCO, United Nations Educational, Scientific and Cultural Organization. UNICEF, United Nations International Children Emergency Fund. UNICEF, United Nations International Children Emergency Fund. In every state, the community health services are provided by the regional offices of the Public Health Department. PHD we can call them as. In every state, the community health services are provided by the regional offices of the Public Health Department. So here to remember, WHO, World Health Organization, who is in Geneva, and Indian 6 regional offices in the world, in which Indian office is in Delhi. Red Cross is one among the oldest health organization. UNESCO, UNICEF, and the public health departments. History of health and diseases. Early Greeks and the Indian Ayurveda believed that health is a balanced state of the body and the mind. Health for a long time was considered as a state of body and mind where there was a balance of certain humors. There was an old reflective thought that persons with black bile belonged to a hot personality and would have fever. William Harvey disproved this good humor, bad humor hypothesis by demonstrating the normal body temperature in these people using a thermometer. He also discovered circulation, as we know, William Harvey, the blood circulation in human being. Hippocrates, the great physician, was the first person to write detailed descriptions of diseases, symptoms, and importance of the need for good diet, fresh air, and rest. Hippocrates separated medicine from religion, superstition, and philosophy, and is called the father of medicine. The term health means wholeness. The term health means wholeness. In 1945-48, the World Health Organization defined health as a state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not merely an absence of disease or infirmity. Later, a fourth dimension, spiritual health, was added. A state of complete physical, mental, and social well-being, and not merely an absence of disease or infirmity. Later, a fourth dimension, spiritual health, was added here. A balanced diet, personal hygiene, and regular exercise are important for maintaining good health. Today, it is also known that mind influences the immune system through the neural and endocrine system. Also, it stated that the immune system maintains one's health. Thus, the mind and mental state affect health. Since ancient times, yoga has been practiced to achieve physical and mental health. Health is affected by genetic disorders, infections, lifestyle, genetic disorders like deficiencies with which a child is born, and deficiencies, defects which the child inherits from parents from birth, infections, lifestyle including food and water we take, rest and exercise we give to our bodies, habits that we have or lack. You see, in this page, the concept of health is influenced by the mind. That means a patient needs healthy mind, and the mental state is also going to affect the immune system here. Immune system, as we know, it maintains and it kills the germs by releasing macrophages, T lymphocyte, B lymphocyte, but that is influenced by the mind and mental state. So a patient mind and body is good and healthy, so immune system is also work strengthily, and it helps his healthy recovery. Concept of disease, French for not at ease. When the functioning of one or more organs or systems of the body is adversely affected, various signs and symptoms are seen. A sign is an indication of a disease observable to the trained eye of a doctor, that is, that which the doctor observes. A symptom is an outward manifestation of the illness or patient's complaints. Disease is a disorder in the physical, physiological, psychological functions of body caused by microorganisms or nutritional deficiency or genetic disorder or any other reason. Disease may be acute or chronic. An acute disease is a short-term illness which tends to start abruptly and may clear up quickly, like common cold, or may persist for a long time, asthma. A chronic disease is always persistent and long-lasting and may be mild or severe. Health and disease have no separate existence of their own. They are names given to states or conditions of living things. The classification of the diseases. The study of classification of disease is known as nosology. The study of classification of disease is known as nosology. On the basis of occurrence in the body, diseases are classified as follows. Types of diseases: congenital diseases, and acquired diseases. Congenital diseases, it includes genetic disorders and external environment. Congenital diseases means present since birth. Congenital diseases further classified into genetic disorders and external environment. Genetic disorders include gene mutations, chromosomal aberrations. Genetic disorders include gene mutations and chromosomal aberrations. External environment: in the mother's womb, that is poor oxygen supply or nutrition to embryo. One of the example, cleft lip or hair lip. Effects of drugs on embryo, like thalidomide baby, that we'll learn in detail later. So types of diseases, what we said, congenital diseases and acquired diseases. Congenital diseases include genetic disorders and external environment. Congenital diseases present since birth, and genetic disorders, defect in genes or chromosomes, gene mutations and chromosomal aberrations. Gene mutations include autosomal dominant like Huntington disease, autosomal recessive like phenylketonuria, X-linked diseases like hemophilia and color blindness, Y-linked diseases like hypertrichosis, and chromosomal aberrations include Down syndrome, trisomy of 21st chromosome, Klinefelter syndrome, Turner syndrome. Then external environment of congenital diseases: in the mother's womb, poor oxygen supply or nutrition to embryo like cleft lip. Effect of drugs on embryo like thalidomide baby. Then let's come to the acquired diseases, the diseases which will come after birth. There are again two types: infectious diseases and non-infectious diseases. Infectious diseases caused due to pathogens. Infectious diseases are also called communicable diseases, can spread from one person to the other person. Then infectious diseases are again contagious diseases, non-contagious diseases. Contagious diseases, which means spread by direct contact, like leprosy, tuberculosis, chickenpox, measles. Non-contagious diseases, spread by indirect contact, like malaria, filaria, plague. And non-infectious diseases, not caused due to pathogens. Or communicable diseases, can't spread from one person to other person. Non-infectious diseases are further classified into degenerative diseases, nutritional deficiency diseases, immunological disorders, cancer, endocrine diseases, allergic diseases, environmental diseases, mental disorders, addiction, non-infectious diseases which are not caused due to pathogens, and these are non-communicable diseases. These are non-communicable diseases here. Then they can't spread from one person to the other person. We say that as non-communicable diseases. And here in the non-communicable diseases, degenerative diseases like arthritis and cataract, nutritional deficiency diseases like kwashiorkor and marasmus, immunological disorders like Hashimoto disease, cancer, carcinoma and sarcoma, endocrine diseases like dwarfism, cretinism, allergic diseases, environmental diseases like asthma and hay fever, environmental diseases like bronchitis and silicosis, mental disorders like neurosis and psychosis, addictions like alcoholism and drug addiction. These are all, we say, that non-communicable diseases. So, the basic classification of diseases like diseases by birth, we say congenital diseases, and acquired diseases, acquired after birth, and congenital diseases include two: genetic disorders and external environment. Genetic disorders like defect in genes or chromosomes, that we say them as gene mutations and chromosomal aberrations. And external environment like cleft lip, which is due to poor oxygen supply or nutrition to embryo, effect of drugs on embryo, thalidomide baby. They are all congenital diseases present since birth. And then if we come to the acquired diseases which will come after birth, there are so many, like infectious and non-infectious diseases. Infectious diseases caused due to pathogens. Non-infectious diseases which are not caused due to pathogens. Infectious diseases are called communicable diseases, and non-infectious diseases are called non-communicable diseases. These are called non-communicable diseases. And degenerative diseases, nutritional deficiency diseases, immunological disorders, cancer, endocrine diseases, allergic diseases, environmental diseases, mental disorders, addiction are said to be non-infectious diseases or non-communicable diseases. Infectious diseases are like two: contagious diseases spread by direct contact like leprosy, tuberculosis, chickenpox and measles. Non-contagious diseases like spread by indirect contact like malaria, filaria and plague, which pass through the vectors. So this is the basic classification of the diseases which we are going to learn in detail. Let's come one after another. First of all, congenital diseases are hereditary diseases. These diseases present after at birth. These diseases are present at birth. They are passed from parents to child. They are responsible for 50% of deaths in newborn babies. They can occur due to the following causes, like single gene mutations. They can further be classified as autosomal dominant diseases. Autosomal dominant diseases like these are transmitted through autosome and are expressed when only a single copy of mutant gene is present, like Huntington disease, myotonic dystrophy, Marfan syndrome. All these are said to be autosomal dominant diseases. Autosomal recessive diseases transmitted through autosome and are expressed when both the copies of genes are mutant. When the both copies of genes are mutant. Autosomal dominant diseases are transmitted through autosomes. That means when only a single copy of mutant gene is enough, and once you remember the Mendel dominant and recessive characters here, in this case also it is going to be affected over. In Huntington disease, myotonic dystrophy, Marfan syndrome, one single dominant gene is enough for the disease. That means here in the homozygous dominant condition and heterozygous dominant condition, it is going to be affected. Then in case of autosomal recessive diseases like phenylketonuria, cystic fibrosis, alkaptonuria, albinism, in all these cases that two recessive genes are required over to cause the disease. In case of sex-linked diseases, they are transmitted through sex chromosome and are expressed when both the copies of genes are mutant, like hemophilia, X-linked disease, color blindness, X-linked disease, hypertrichosis, Y-linked disease. As we learned earlier in genetics, hemophilia is an X-linked recessive disorder. Color blindness is also an X-linked recessive disorder. Y-linked disease, a disease which is coming from father to son only because of the presence on Y chromosome. And let's see the chromosomal mutations or aberrations. These may occur due to structural changes such as deletion, duplication, or inversion within a chromosome. As we learned earlier in genetics, like non-disjunction process during the formation of gametes can cause these disorders. Some of the examples are given here, like Down syndrome, trisomy of 21st chromosome, autosomal pair, has 47 chromosomes due to the extra chromosome along with the 21st autosomal pair. Down syndrome. Patau syndrome, that is trisomy of 13th chromosome. That means here in the 13th homologous pair, one extra chromosome is getting added over, like Patau syndrome. Edwards syndrome, that means in the 18th pair of chromosome, in 18th homologous pair, then extra chromosome is added. Here also 47. Klinefelter syndrome, that 44 autosomes, like 22 pairs of autosomes are as usual, and extra X chromosome is added here. Klinefelter is a male, as we learned in genetics. Turner syndrome, single X chromosome. The loss of one X chromosome, we say Turner syndrome. 45 chromosomes are there. All these are said to be chromosomal mutations or aberrations, as we learn more there in genetical disorders in genetics chapter, that along with these diseases, Klinefelter, Turner's, Downs, Edwards, Patau, and we learn Cray-Duchat syndrome, chronic myelogenous leukemia, all the other the chromosomal disorders we learned earlier. Well, some of the examples are given here, like external changes or environmental effects in embryo. If a pregnant woman takes a drug called thalidomide, it severely hampers embryonic growth and baby may have no forearm. Thalidomide baby, that we say thalidomide baby. You see here the thalidomide baby has no forearm. That disorder will come at the time when the mother, when she is pregnant, if she take a thalidomide drug, it severely hampers embryonic growth and baby may have no forearm. See, the forearm is absent here in the baby. Whereas physiological disturbance due to environmental factors during embryonic development may also affect the child. Physiological disturbances due to the environmental factors during embryonic development, like the poor oxygen supply or poor nutrition to the embryo, may result cleft lip. See, this is the cleft lip of the baby. When we open the mouth like this, the cleft lip due to the pure oxygen supply. These two are the external changes or environmental effects in embryo due to the congenital. So in the list types of diseases, we are completed congenital diseases present since birth, like genetic disorders, as we are seeing, like gene mutations and chromosomal aberrations, and external environmental influences in the mother's womb due to the poor oxygen supply, cleft lip, and effects of drugs on embryo. One of the example, thalidomide baby, and one more we are seeing that due to the drug thalidomide and the cleft lip due to the poor oxygen supply. This is all about congenital diseases. Once we look towards the congenital diseases here, which are present since birth, either it is genetic disorders, defect in genes or chromosomes, or it is external environment in the mother's womb. And then now let's go to the acquired diseases here. Acquired diseases, let me remind you once again. Acquired diseases, acquired after birth, we classified it two types. Infectious diseases, caused due to pathogens. Also we call them as communicable diseases, can spread from person to the person. And there are two, contagious and non-contagious. Leprosy, tuberculosis, chickenpox, measles, we called it as contagious. Non-contagious diseases spread by indirect contact like malaria, filaria and plague. And non-infectious diseases, not caused due to pathogens. And non-communicable diseases can't spread from person to the person. Degenerative diseases like arthritis and cataract, nutritional deficiency diseases, immunological disorders, cancer, endocrine diseases, allergic diseases, environmental diseases, mental disorders, addiction, all these are said to be non-infectious diseases. We are going to learn one after another here that the types of diseases we are completed congenital, and now we are moving to the acquired diseases. Acquired diseases. These diseases develop after birth. They are not passed from parents to children. They are of two types. Communicable diseases or infectious diseases. The diseases which are transferred from one infected person to the other through contact, air, water, food are called communicable diseases. They are also called infectious diseases. These are pathogenic diseases as these are caused by microorganisms or pathogens. The microorganisms may be bacteria, virus or fungi or protozoa. Acquired diseases which develop after birth, not passed from parents to children, not congenital these are. Among these we have two types, communicable and non-communicable. Communicable diseases are infectious diseases which are transferred from one infected person to the other through contact, air, water, food are called communicable. They are also called infectious diseases, pathogenic diseases as they are caused by microorganism or pathogens. The microorganism may be bacteria, virus, fungi or protozoa. Communicable diseases are further classified into two types, contagious, non-contagious. In contagious diseases, pathogens spread just by direct contact between infected person and other person through touch, clothes, sneezing, coughing, spitting, like leprosy, tuberculosis, chickenpox, measles. Non-contagious diseases. In these diseases, pathogen does not spread by direct contact but require a transport agency. Non-contagious diseases, in these diseases, pathogen does not spread by direct contact but requires a transport agency. The transport agency may be a vector like a biotic factor like mosquito, housefly, bugs, vehicle, abiotic factors like contaminated food, water and blood. Example, hepatitis, malaria, plague, typhoid, cholera, tuberculosis. Among these, malaria we know it's spread through a vector called biotic factor like mosquito, and typhoid pass through vehicle, abiotic factor like contaminated food, cholera is like the same. And let us learn in detail after these. Non-communicable diseases or non-infectious diseases. These diseases are confined to the person who suffers and do not get transferred to others by air, water, food or any means. They are also called non-infectious diseases. These are all the diseases which are caused by any agent other than pathogen. Hence they are called non-pathogenic diseases. Non-communicable diseases non-infectious diseases are confined to the person who suffers do not get transferred to others by air, water, food or any mean. They are also called non-infectious diseases. These are the diseases which are caused by any agent other than pathogen. Hence they are called non-pathogenic diseases. Depending upon the causative agent, they are further classified into many types as environmental diseases, like industries release toxic chemical substances which cause diseases like bronchitis, silicosis, asbestosis, Minamata disease. In Japan, mercury poisoning due to biomagnification, that Minamata disease, itai, the cadmium poisoning. Itai is cadmium poisoning. Allergic diseases. They are caused by hypersensitivity of body to certain external agents like allergens, asthma, hay fever which is caused by pollens, anaphylaxis caused by bee sting. Anaphylaxis caused by bee sting. Mental disorders like they affect the central nervous system like psychosis, epilepsy and neurosis. Degenerative diseases like by aging, they are caused by malfunctioning of important organs like lungs, heart, joints due to aging. Osteoarthritis, arteriosclerosis, cataract, all these are the general disorders which will come by age are said to be degenerative diseases. So, till the time, the non-communicable diseases are environmental diseases like bronchitis, silicosis, asbestosis, Minamata disease, itai. Minamata by mercury poisoning and itai by cadmium poisoning. Allergic diseases caused by hypersensitivity of body to certain external agents like allergens, asthma, hay fever caused by pollens, anaphylaxis which is caused by bee sting, mental disorders like psychosis, epilepsy, neurosis, all these are mental disorders, degenerative diseases which will occur by aging process, caused by the malfunctioning of important organs like lungs, heart, joints, examples osteoarthritis, arteriosclerosis and cataract. And nutritional deficiency diseases is also one of the example for non-communicable diseases. Some of the nutritional deficiency diseases given here, let us see one after another. The protein deficiency leads to kwashiorkor. Protein deficiency which leads to the kwashiorkor. And protein energy malnutrition, marasmus. Protein energy malnutrition, marasmus. Iodine deficiency leads to goiter. Iodine deficiency which leads to the goiter. Fluorine deficiency leads to skeletal and dental fluorosis. Skeletal and dental fluorosis. Vitamin A, deficiency of vitamin A. Retinol, the chemical name of vitamin A. Vitamin A deficiency leads to xerophthalmia, night blindness, xeroderma. Xerophthalmia, night blindness, we call nyctalopia, and xeroderma. Vitamin B1, thiamine. Deficiency of vitamin B1 leads to beriberi. Vitamin B2, riboflavin. Vitamin B2, riboflavin. Deficiency of vitamin B2 leads to chelosis, glossitis. Glossitis, here I am writing here the glossitis. Let us see, this is glossitis. Glossitis and dermatitis is one among them. Next, vitamin B3, niacin deficiency leads to pellagra. Vitamin B2, cyanocobalamin. Vitamin B2, B12, cyanocobalamin, pernicious anemia. Deficiency of vitamin B12 and folic acid, megaloblastic anemia. Vitamin C, ascorbic acid, scurvy. Vitamin D, rickets in children, osteomalacia in adults. Vitamin E, tocopherol, sterility. Vitamin K, phylloquinone, bleeding, and hypothrombinemia, clotting disorder it is. So these are all the nutritional deficiency diseases. and endocrine diseases